everyone. My name is SP Shantanu and I am a member of Media and Public Relations Committee in IIM Raipur. So today in our studio we have Mr. Vivek Jyoti, who is the head of talent intelligence of APAC and EMEA areas for Kimberly Clark. So we are honored to have you here for Leadership Summit 2024 of IIM Raipur.
Thank you.
So with your permission, let's start the interview.
Sure.
So you have had a stellar career until now, sir, as we had seen. So my first question would be, what has been the most defining moment in your career that has significantly shaped your professional path?
Yeah, thank you. That's a really good question. So I had to think over it because it's been around 16 years I've been in the industry.
Right.
So not an easy question to ask. It might have been multiple kind of scenarios or moments. So one of the breakthrough or one of the significant moment which I can say is that my studies in MBA in Germany, because that was pretty much in 2009 when I moved to Germany without knowing what does it look like over there in terms of studies and in terms of the language, culture and so on. Did a very less amount of research, but I could manage to get a MBA degree from a university where I also had a scholarship. So that really shaped me in a way that to be bit more kind of broad-minded, open,
Right.
Embracing different cultures, different people, different backgrounds, and being more inclusive and so on. So that helped me to shape my career, my studies, and my stay in Germany. So that's what I would say.
How do you stay so agile and adaptive? How to stay agile and adaptive in a very fast-moving industry like FMCG, which is very dynamic.
Yeah.
And so, what has been the strategy that has proven effective over the years for Kimberly Clark?
Yeah, so again, $1 million question. So it's pretty much really important to stay agile in these times, right? I mean, because everything keeps on changing and the world is moving in a really fast pace and nobody knows what's going to come in, right? So we had, initially emails were a big invention, right? So back in 2000s or late 90s and so on. Then came the social media where everything disrupted and people started connecting. You have a totally different perspective about the world, right? And even further now, it's more Gen AI. So
Right.
it might not be, I don't know how it would look like in the next couple of months or next couple of years down the line. So that's where I mean, you need to be really adaptive and being agile, irrespective of what industry it is, whether it be FMCG, whether it be any other industry, tech or whatever it is. So one thing really helps me is to listen, to kind of observe and understand, and also having the open mindset, as I said, to embrace change, which is really important. So that is something which helps me to be agile. And as an organization also, at Kimberly Clark, we practice that. So we are pretty much really constantly changing, constantly asking the questions to challenge the status quo, why it is not done this way and why we are doing it this way and so on. So that kind of freedom and that kind of the agile mindset which we embrace, and even for myself, as I said, to listen, to observe, and also to embrace change. That's what helping me to be agile. Yeah.
Okay. Sir, you are the head of talent in regions like Asia Pacific, in Africa, in Europe. So you cover a whole lot bigger region.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate the cultural differences when managing such global teams and markets at Kimberly Clark?
Yeah. So again, a great question. So it is pretty much a daily scenario because I work with global teams. Most of my stakeholders are global. So I cover a spectrum wherein starting from the Europe, Middle East to kind of covering the entire Asia Pacific, and I do have stakeholders and teams in these locations. So first of all, it's really important to understand where the basics of like where the people are coming from, right? So during my studies, I also had a module called cultural intelligence quotient, or it was all about like studying how different cultures are. So it's really important to understand, to get into the root and understand like where people are coming from. So say for example, when I was in Germany, so I was taught that how Germans perceive and what do they value. So they value nature a lot, and they used to kind of being more process oriented. They value punctuality. So if you're getting late for a meeting, that means a lot for them. So that it's not a thing which they would accept. So those kind of things, once you start understanding, right, irrespective of where these people are coming from, let it be from China, from Japan, and so on. So if you're able to crack that and understand that, what is really important for them, and also like having that empathy to learn and put yourself into their shoes, right? That will help you to create those relationships,
Right.
and then it becomes easier, and you can connect pretty well with people, because even though we are in virtual environment, we definitely have the opportunity to connect with them and build those valuable relationships, which will help to deal things much easier, and that's how I tackle it. Yeah.
So with experience, you pick up things about different cultures, right?
Exactly. You learn. I mean, like, first of all, you listen, observe,
Right.
and you understand. You show the empathy, and then you learn. And it doesn't mean that you cannot get into healthy conflicts.
Right.
At the same time, you ask the right questions. You can also get into conflicts. But you understand people, and with that empathy, with that right questions, and a mix of it, right?
Right.
You can definitely handle that pretty well.
Kimberly Clark is around 150 years old firm. So, what challenges have you encountered in driving innovation in such a traditional company like Kimberly Clark?
Yeah. So I would say like I've not encountered any kind of specific challenges. I've worked for companies which are pretty much old. Really, my previous employer was Adidas, again like around 75 years old, and Kimberly Clark is also a legacy company, like twice the age of like Adidas, so 150 years old. So the similarities that I find working for the the legacy companies, or companies which have been there for a long time, for innovation, is that from an agility perspective, right, the decision tree is like pretty complex, because if you wanted to get approvals, or if you wanted to make some changes, it has to go through like multiple layers of like management or the leadership to get approval, right? So that is something pretty common. It's not a Kimberly Clark thing, but again, like common in all these companies. So that is something which I can point out. Maybe like if you want to change something, you cannot do it right away, or like the next day. It takes a lot of patience, a lot of perseverance. You need to write different business cases, like you might study in your MBA lessons, right, which you can use also when you get into these companies. So you need to sharpen the business cases. You need to show them what exactly the ROI, what are the KPIs which you're going to impact, the key performance indicators, or at the end of the day, what it means in terms of like improving the revenues, right?
Right.
So those being the challenges, but again, you also have a lot of problems to fix, because that's the beauty of it, because things are done in such a way for a long time, and then you can come in, you can try to build up something new, you can fix the processes, you can innovate in the product, you can innovate in the processes, you can innovate in the ways of working, and so on. So that's also an opportunity, I would say.
Okay. Just about professional life, we as students of IIM Raipur, all of us are going to enter corporate life, and so what would be your advice based on your experiences that would help IIM Raipur students in their future careers, as both as corporate employees, or as corporate leaders, or as just business owners?
Great question. So my advice to you would be is to again like be open-minded, try to embrace change, because nowadays things are changing pretty fast, and everywhere, right, in the corporate, and also like in other scenarios as well. So try to embrace those change, be agile, keep on learning. Learning is the only key to success, because it's like the things start as we are in really kind of the fast-paced environment.
Right.
So keep learning, have that continuous learning acumen, Again, challenge the status quo. Don't be afraid of doing that. So if you feel like when you enter the corporate, right, something is not done in the right way, so you can definitely challenge that. Have that courage. It takes time, but again, like have that courage. And one thing you can do is like asking the right questions. So that's a good way to challenge things, because you can ask like, why is it done like this and not like that? So that will put you in a better position. So don't be afraid. Again, like try to disrupt, try to challenge, try to kind of ask questions. So those are the things I would say.
Yes, sir. Great advice. I'm sure it will help all of us students a lot. So thank you for the conversation. It was our honor to host you here and interview you. Hope you come again.
Sure. So
Thank you, sir.
you're welcome. Thank you.